Yo, this your boy Prodigy the Kid. I'm with my boy James John Marie. This is 40 minutes.
Alright. Alright, today, folks, we have the one and only.
Prodigy the Kid.
Also goes by the name of.
Prodigy the Kid.
His actual name is.
Caleb.
Alright. So, my first question for you is what instrument did you first play ever?
The first instrument I learned to play was electric guitar.
Why is that?
Reason I did it is because I was super into rock and I wanted to be in a band, and guitar just looked like the most praised and good thing in like any music video or anything. So I was like, I want to learn to do that, and I like shred stuff, and I ended up doing that. So
who'd you look up to that was like kind of like your music role model for you?
At that time, when I was like rock influenced, I would definitely say like Ben Harper, even though he's not really rock. Ben Harper, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Foo Fighters, Nirvana. Those were kind of like what I was trying to be. But once I started getting into rap, it turned into Andy Mineo, Kendrick Lamar, Kanye West. Just people like that.
When did you discover like your passion for music?
I think I've been into music since I was, like before I can even remember anything. Like, I just always remember when I was with my mom, we would always just play every type of music in the car, and I would just enjoy all of it. And I think that's kind of what started getting me into the interest of like wanting to make my own music. So
who would you say was like, your biggest supporter since like day one?
Man, that's a good one. I would definitely say my mom. She's believed that I can do anything more than anybody else, and she believed I could do stuff before I could believe I could do stuff, so like definitely, she's the most on my SoundCloud. She is the most, I don't know how to word it. She's the person that has listened to my music the most. I think she is at like 1,000 something plays, and I only have like 50 songs on SoundCloud. Even though it's a lot of songs, it's still a lot of plays, So yeah, I would definitely say my mom has probably been my biggest supporter since day one.
Would you say like she introduced you? Well, not introduced, but like
to music?
Yeah.
I would say like essentially, because that's kind of where it all started from. It was in that tan Mazda that she had, and we would just play Ludacris CDs and College Dropout, and just stuff that got me more influenced. And the genres of music ranged. It was we would play Dixie Chicks to Red Hot Chili Peppers to, like I said, Ludacris and Kanye, and it was just it's what made my ear. So I think that's definitely what kind of started everything.
Cool. How would you say like your music style changed since you were younger to now?
Well, I would definitely say society played a big role of it. Just how music changes. Music changes, I say, about every 3 to 5 years in one genre, and then 5 to 10 years in like every genre. They all influence each other. Music influences society, and society influences music, vice versa. So I would definitely say like I think experience from a younger age is helpful in like any type of field of study or work or hobby. Like if I had started music freshman year rather than 5th grade year, my music wouldn't be as praised or as good as it is right now, because you never start off good, you never start off great. It's rare that anybody in anything starts off good, whether it's a sport, whether it's music, whether it's mechanics, literally anything. You don't start off good. You have to learn, you have to allow yourself to create whether it's good or not. And regardless, you're going to advance in that creation. So I definitely think just being where I'm at now with, one, life experiences, two, more experience in audio production and sound and equipment, I think that has definitely played probably the most role in how I sound different.
Would you say like your life has been pursuing this music dream since like day one, like you've gotten there?
I would definitely say that. I never really, from the beginning of everything, I never thought that I would start my own music, but I was always involved. So I definitely think, it's more than a dream now.
It's a reality.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I would not, keep doing what I'm doing right now if I didn't believe, like, I could at least do something with it, whether it's, forecastle, whether it's, just being an audio engineer at a studio, either in Louisville or Nashville or wherever. I believe I can definitely do something to make an impact, whether it's for the kids, whether it's for homeless community, really anything. I just want to help people mentally and physically as much as I can, but definitely mentally with the music side of it, with my storytelling and stuff. So I definitely think I could do something. If I didn't, I wouldn't be here with you right now.
Yeah. Going off a little bit off of that, how do you say like your music's impacted those like around you?
With my music, especially in albums, I definitely just write about my life at that time. The past 3 years for me have been pretty much a roller coaster of emotions. My mom has had a couple struggles that, I won't speak about right now, but you can definitely hear it in my music. But like that was like the heavy hitter of like, dang, like, this is life. I'm not just gonna get everything I want. Not everything's gonna go my way. Like, I gotta keep moving. I gotta, express myself through the pain. And I just came out with an album called AWOL, I think around August or so of last year. And I just remember when I put it out, I had so many text messages and DMs, and they're like, man, I cried, through the fifth song, and some of them, like, I mean, a couple of people even said I changed their life with that album. And so that right there, just being a local act, essentially, like, that right there just means the world to me, because it's like, you never know what other people are going through, even when you think, you're alone. So I definitely think, the trials and tribulations that God has allowed me to work through has definitely helped, a little kid or, somebody else that, doesn't have a voice that I've created for myself, So I definitely think trials and tribulations with the work that I'm doing right now, I think it's a blessing in disguise. So
what would you say like your biggest struggle with like music in general?
I would say keeping creativity, man. Like, I had a mad writer's block. I actually call it writer's burnout. That's what they call it. I couldn't write for more than 6 months. I had lost all my music at the beginning of 2019 because my computer crashed, and I'd already had my album done. And so I had to redo AWOL like 3 or 4 more times. I would just say, like, keeping creativity, and especially in the rap genre nowadays, like, everything is sounding the same, and the content, the gap of content is like slimmer. It just keeps growing to a smaller degree, and I'm trying to stay out of that gap, and just trying to stay true to myself, stay true to the music that I want to make as well as what other people want to hear. Just catching people's ear. I think that's one of the hardest things to do, because at the end of the day, it's all for myself. I make music for me because that's how I deal with things. Music is my therapy. But what's it gonna do for me if it can't help anybody else, or relate to anybody else, Like, I'm not gonna be able to make a career out of that if, I don't at least involve people. And I definitely like hearing people's opinions. I always say I don't really care what people think, but if it's about them, I definitely care, So it's like, think that's the biggest thing. Just keeping creativity, switching it up every now and then, and not staying in the gap of small content.
Yeah. What would you tell your younger self?
My younger self is to. It's a good one. I looked at this question last night, and I was like, "Oh, I think I know what I'm gonna say." I don't know what I'm gonna say.
We all don't know what it is.
I mean, even though I'm still here, like driving and pushing in the music thing, I would just say just keep pushing. Don't listen to any of the kids that make fun of you at school for being a SoundCloud rapper when you were in 5th and 6th grade. Because now everyone's a SoundCloud rapper. I would just say just don't even pay attention, even though you never cared what people thought about you. Just keep driving and do it for the benefits of others rather than what they think is, a downkill or whatever.
So like, I know you said something about like music's like your therapy through life and stuff, but like, why would you say music and not like something like basketball or football or something else?
Growing up, I always actually thought that I was going to be a basketball star because, my dad played basketball in high school and college, and, he had kind of breeded me growing up to, be good at basketball. Kentucky basketball was like my second child because my first child is music. I don't actually have a child. But, yeah, man, like, I really thought I was going to do something with basketball, and then 8th grade year came around at Barrett. They cut me off the basketball team, so I never really played. And then I was like, you know what? I'll try football out. My dad didn't want me to do football because he thought it was too dangerous. I ended up becoming a offensive guard on the offensive line. So that was going good. I was in like the best shape, like physically, and then I messed up my back, so it was very dangerous, and that kind of stopped me from doing sports. And I think that's really when like my music stuff had actually peaked because, music was plan B essentially. It was on the back burner, and then my back started burning, and then we went to the music thing. So I think that was also another blessing in disguise. It was a trial and tribulation that I hit. I can still play basketball, but I'm definitely not as good anymore because I gave up. I didn't practice. I never gave up the music thing though, and I think that's what has elevated my sound and my character and just me as an artist.
What kind of setup did you have back then?
Man, I started off in 5th grade with my iPod Touch. It was like 2nd generation or something. Whenever iPod Touch, whenever they came out with the touchscreen, and whatever house I was at, I would just go in a closet and make little beats on my iPod on GarageBand and just press record with some headphones, and that was the basics of recording, and I took it and roll with it. But sorry, I got a burp. But snap. Ooh, all right. Yeah, I started with an iPod Touch back in 5th grade, just recording, and then around 8th grade, I saved enough money to get up a studio bundle, and that's somewhat what I'm still working with it today, but I'm adding more stuff to the equipment and collection, so I actually have like a soundproof room now, where I'm still working on it, and it's doing pretty good.
How would you say, how does it feel to be like on stage when you sing?
Oh, dude, performing is like one of the greatest like things ever, like it's like a natural high for me, man. Like, especially when like the people in the crowd know the lyrics to my songs. It's like, we had a birthday party last week, and I played 2 unreleased songs, and half of the crowd already knew the words, and I was like, man, like that right there is wild enough. So it's like, yeah, I mean, it's just great, it's a time where you are able to showcase your talent, and that's something I think it makes people appreciate a song more, even though they don't really see the process behind it. They see the outcome of it more, face to face, rather than just listening to it on your phone or in your car or something. So I think shows are beneficial for really everybody that's in attendance and everybody that's working behind it and everything. So I think it's a really great thing.
Do you remember the first time you performed live?
The first time I actually performed like my own songs and it was like a public thing was World Fest last year, and that was crazy. And I only did like 2 songs. I just remember it was me and my boy Javon, and he was like, "Hey, I'm doing a show at World Fest. I want you to perform with me. We can do a collab song, and then you can end out with your song." I was like, "Sounds great. I'm down." We did it, and I remember when my song started playing, you know, because I rap fast, and so I started rapping fast, and I just remember seeing, like, you know, people just starting to crowd in, and I was like, okay, you know, like, and then people were starting to bop their heads and then started vibing, and then all of a sudden, you know, half of them were jumping and singing the chorus. I was performing I Am I Was, and yeah, man, it was crazy. Like, that was like the most meaningful performance to me because it was actually my own, you know, art. It wasn't just the you know, rock covers and stuff that I would do at 4th Street or, you know, at Dick's, or not Dick's, Wick's. My dad works at Dick's Sporting Goods. But yeah, I mean, it's not like the rock shows I would do at 4th Street or Wick's or, you know, anywhere like that. And so I think it was a lot more meaningful to me. So that it was cool.
Did you have like butterflies in your stomach the first time, or?
You know, I'm never really a nervous guy unless I'm just speaking in front of crowds. I can really do anything musically in front of a crowd, but I do have about 2 to 3 minutes right before I walk on the stage, the butterflies in my stomach. But once I like actually step foot on stage, I'm all good. You know, I feel like I'm in the crowd now, so it's not a, you know, it's not a rare thing, but, you know, it doesn't really happen at the times it should, you know, so.
Has it, like, become more comfortable as you've grown?
Yeah, and I think the experience that I had with, like, the rock bands and stuff, that definitely kind of helped shape it, because it's like, that's when I started actually getting nervous, because it was like, you know, I've never done stuff like this before, but as the crowds grow, you know, I always say, like, that's how my, you know, confidence grows, you know, it just grows along with, you know, each and every show. So
besides your mom, who else do you think has like influenced your music?
Like in a personal relationship?
Yeah.
Man, I mean, I would really just say like my childhood overall, you know, I mean, just all the stuff that, you know, I went through, positive and negative. I definitely think it just kind of, you know, one formed who I am, and then, you know, I kind of formed my music because of who I am. So I wouldn't really say anybody specific. You know, I got a little shorty right now, but, you know, she don't really, you know. But it's, you know, it's just, I mean, if it's not my mom, it's me, you know, because there's so many people that contributed. How do you say it? Contributed. Is that?
Contributed.
Yeah. Okay.
Just say it again.
All right. You know, if it isn't my mom, it would be me, because there's just so many people that have contributed to my life and you know, my life experiences, and that helped form every story and every song that I've had. So.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years or 10 years?
Where do I see myself in 10 years? You know, I would just say, if anything, it would be helping my community out with any type of benefits that I gain from either music or whatever career path I end up in. But overall, the big goal, I'll still be helping my community out. But, you know, I see me just selling out KFCM Center 10 years from now, man. It would literally be crazy. I'm working more and more every day to start off with Forecastle, and then, you know, make that to Bonnaroo, and then make that to Really Any Festival, and then I think the biggest goal for me is to sell out the KFCM Center. So, you know, that's hometown, that's homebred, so it's like, I think I just have to make it happen.
There you go. I feel like for me, you've impacted my life to like see that you've always like pursued your passion for music and stuff, and that's like kind of rubbed on me with graphic design and like just design in general stuff, because I want to like be the best out there. Do you think you trying to like achieve like that level? You know?
I would definitely say a year ago I was striving to be the best the best rapper there could ever be. More and more recently though, as I kind of step out of the studio and out of my house to kind of experience life more, I just see the amount of talent that Louisville has in the same genre that I have. There's some people that are better than me. There's some people that are better than me in certain areas, maybe in production or even lyrics or cadence or anything. But, a couple of weeks ago, I was like, man, I'm tired of saying, like, I want to be the best, because I know my ability regardless. And also, I'm tired of I want to be the king of my city when I see so many kings in the city, So I would definitely say I want to get to the conversation of, one of the greatest to ever do it. But, at the end of the day, if my city's striving, then I'm striving. That's the biggest goal. So,
where's like some of your inspiration for your lyrics come from?
I would definitely say Biggie had a big influence on like my lyrical like cadence and flow and storytelling. I think Biggie's one of the best storytellers ever in the game. So I think just the way, listening to how his albums were just one big story, but there was also so many elements to it, like 20 songs. Each song had their own story, and it was one big story. I think, man, I'm tired. Seeing how that was all one big story, I think that that definitely showed me, like, you can make in a movie just with people's ears, just like, you don't have to make a movie that's visual, like let the audience, visualize what they want to. I think Ready to Die by Notorious B.I.G. is like the first album that I was like, man, this is like a movie. And even though it was real life situations, like, it's just based off his life. It's based off a true story. And I think seeing that was like, man, I can really just break down everything in the multiple songs and just make it into one big project, and I'll call it a movie rather than an album. So,
okay. Would you say like, was your family musical like growing up?
Oh yeah, like my grandma, she was in a band growing up. She played guitar. She taught herself how to play guitar. My dad taught himself how to play guitar, and he's, he doesn't really pick up the guitar anymore, but I mean, he can sing for sure. He's in a cover band, he just rolls around the city and does gigs and everything. And yeah, I mean, my family's always definitely had like generation and generation with music, and I just think I've been taking it to the highest level I can, so.
You think you're carrying like the legacy?
If anything, I'm making the legacy, but yeah, definitely. I wouldn't have been able to pick up a guitar if my mom wouldn't play music all the time and my dad didn't play guitar, because I never really saw my grandma in the band because, she's old. So it's like, but yeah, definitely, like, I'm proud to say that, like, I didn't give up on the music thing, when it comes to my family. Like, not saying that they did, but they never wanted to make a career out of it, and, it's something that I want to do for the rest of my life. So I think I'm very proud to say, like, yeah, like, I'm carrying on the legacy for sure.
What do you hope people get out of your music when they listen to it?
I just hope more than anything, I want people to be just more aware of life situations or certain point of views on, really anything, and I want them to be healed, through, the words of relation, want them to know that they're not alone, like people go through similar circumstances, even if you think you're in the worst of the worst. But I also hope that they like gain appreciation just for like hearing elements of a song and not necessarily knowing how many and how much work goes towards one song, but like they can understand like, man, it must have took them forever to make this song because it's super good. Or, you know, I got a song coming out soon called Modelos, and we took that to a big studio, and I brought, you know, a couple homies and my girlfriend, and they were like, man, just watching a single song and the work behind it, like, just makes me appreciate the song way more. So, I mean, I want to do that alone just through people hearing the song alone. So that's what I hope they get out of it.
What struggles did you face growing up?
Well, I mean, my mom and dad never got married. They had me, and then they split when I was 2 years old. I never really liked going back and forth between houses because it was a distraction from what I would do in school. And then when I would go to my dad's house, they were like, man, you got to do better in school. And then I go to my mom's house, and they would just tell me to do better in school, like be more motivating, and then, just go back and forth. Just really anything that any kid could have in a split household, or, just anything like that. That was probably like the biggest stuff growing up. I think really the hardships of life have like really just hit like recently in the past 5 years, so that stuff you can listen to it on my album AWOL by Prodigy the Kid. It's just, and like I was saying earlier, like music is my therapy. It's how I deal with things, it's how I talk about things, and it's still hard to this day to talk about, just things that I've experienced. But if I make a beat and I write lyrics to it and I'm alone and I can scream it out or I can yell it out, like, I'm proud to let that go and to let 2,000 people listen to it, so it's just, that also allows me to know, like, hey, if people appreciate that, that means I'm not alone, and if they appreciate that, that lets them know that they're not alone. So that's definitely a big thing for the music thing. So
do you think if you didn't go through those hardships, you wouldn't be here the same person as right now?
No, I really don't think I would be where I'm at. I do think it might have taken a different route, but I definitely think the hardships kind of made me want to do music more, because I realized that's where I get, benefits from the pain, is in the music. I couldn't do that in basketball. I would have fun in basketball, but then I would go home and just deal with the same stuff every day. When I go home, music's at the home, so it's like it's always there. It's in every single thing, so I think music is the thing that I will never, ever give up. Whether the career changes, like, the music will be there. So
would you say, like, music's kind of like, how like when like rocks go through like a river, they come like smooth and stuff, and they're like hard and all scratchy and stuff? Would you say music's done that to you too?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, like I said, like, music's always there. So it's like, it's hard. Yeah, it's a good question. It's just hard to explain, like,
yeah.
Let me think on it.
I'm thinking more questions.
Say what?
I'm thinking more questions.
Alright. Yeah, I mean, I would say music's like water. Again, it's in everything, Like, if I'm the rocks, or if my trials and tribulations are the rocks, they're definitely smoothened out, in every situation, because I'm able to express it through music, or I'm able to listen to other people's music to get through that. So, music is literally in everything in my life. If someone says they don't like music, they're lying. Like, it's literally in everything, whether it's the rhythm of how I'm breathing, the rhythm of how I'm sitting down, or even the tone that I'm giving off, what note I'm hitting in my monotone. Like, music is in everything, whether you notice it or not, So if someone tells you they don't like music, they're a dead liar.
What would you be doing if music like wasn't a thing?
I'd be dead.
You'd be dead?
Yeah. Like, straight up. Like, I mean, if music wasn't in anything, like, and I'm not doing sports, like, there's really not anything that I'm interested in that I know I'm going to be able to strive in. I had a phase where I wanted to do architecture, because I would watch this show on Netflix, and it was a bunch of British people and their voices were so soothing that when they would talk about a wall, I'm like, man, I want to make a wall. But I realized it took a lot of math, and I'm not that great at math. So, and I think math is stupid. So I didn't really want to do it. That was like a year ago. And I wasn't like 10. Like, no, this was like a year ago. You know, I always think about, you know, what would I do if I wasn't doing music? And I'd probably just be serving chicken at Chick-fil-A for the rest of my life. You know, there's really not a plan B. And that's also why I become more motivated to just strive more, to do more shows, to make more music, to impact more people. Like, you know, I feel like that's really what I'm called to do, you know? So, I mean, yeah.
That's all I got.
You had something about a song.
So what?
You had something about a song. A question. It was like, what's your favorite song you've ever written or something?
Oh, yeah. What is...
Because I have an answer.
Yeah.
My favorite song that I've ever written is called Cage. I put it out back in 2017 on my album Unstoppable. It's only on SoundCloud because that's when I really started recording with the home studio. But I wrote a song called Cage, and it was just about what I was going through at the time. I just suggest you listen to it. It's very impactful to me still to this day. And, you know, I think it's just it's a very sad song, but at the same time, like, the message is more motivating because it's like you can literally go through anything. And as long as you're alive, you know, so.
What were you going through in 2017?
I had a grandfather that passed. I had a grandmother that passed. My mom and my stepdad were going through a divorce. You know, I didn't really have an official home on my mom's side, so we were just moving around. You know, I always like to say I'll be at my dad's during the week, and I would be homeless on the weekends. I say it as a joke, but, like, honestly, like, you know, I was either sleeping on people's floors or, you know, sleeping in the car. You know, we never really found a place to stay. And then, you know, in recent years, my mom had to hit rock bottom with her struggles, and that's what has made both of us better as individuals. And where we're at right now, you know, I have a house full time. So it's like, and it's also helped my relationship with my father and my stepmom and my little brother. So, you know, I think what I've realized in the past year or so is, like, sometimes you just have to hit rock bottom in order to get back up. And so, yeah, from like 2016, 2020, like, that was, like, you know, the rough rock years, and now I think we're smoothing the rocks out with the music. So,
Do you say you're thriving right now?
I hate the word thriving, but yeah.
Surviving?
Definitely surviving, yeah. I think I'm surviving more and more every day, but I think it's less of a survival mode. You know, I think I'm more comfortable. Again, like, sometimes you got to hit rock bottom to get back up, and also sometimes you got to hit rock bottom to be able to deal with anything. So I think I gotta keep burping, bro. Like, bro, what is this?
Just let it out.
It's like it's there, but anytime, like, I'm talking, it's like, and then I'm like, bro, I gotta burp, and she's like, nah, bro. But yeah, I mean, I think sometimes you just have to hit rock bottom in order to really deal with anything. And so, not that anything, you know, doesn't faze me or anything, but it's like I'm just more comfortable in my skin, you know. And I think I've grown to be more grateful for everything, you know, achieve more goals. So I think past few years have definitely helped shape me to be a better man, even when I never thought it would. So,
were there times where you're like, whoa, I just did that?
Yeah, actually on AWOL, there's a song called On My Mind. It's like, it's essentially the last song, but on the album it's the second to last song. And I just remember that was in the midst of, you know, figuring out my mom's situation. I was breaking up with my girlfriend at the time. just everything kind of was hitting at one time, and I was like, screw it. I was like, I'm gonna make a beat. This is also when I couldn't write for like 6 months or whatever. I said, I'm gonna make a beat. I want to literally write out everything, and I'm just gonna scream it, like, and I don't care. And so I made it, and I was like, man, that felt really good to get off my chest. I was like, I just probably will just keep it. You know, I don't need to put it out because I'm almost bashing my father. I'm almost bashing my mother in a way. And so I hang on to it, and then, you know, it's still in my email. It's still in my computer. So I still feel like it's on my chest. I go to Nashville for Camp Electric. Shout out to Dave Strange for sending me. Snap!
Screen broken?
Nah. On carbon? But I go to Nashville for Camp Electric, and there's a guy from Apollo LTE. I don't really remember the band name, but there was this guy, he was answering questions, and I was like, man, I feel like this song is super negative. So I was like, I asked him, I said, I feel like writing is a form of prayer. How do you write with, you know, negative experiences? Like, how do you kind of yell in prayer and songwriting? And he was like, well, not everything has to come out. And I was like, dang it, I can't put this song out. And then he was like, but also, you never know what someone else is going through. Even if it may come off as negative, that might just come off as negative to somebody that's never been through your same situation. Hearing that, you know, I talked to my dad and, you know, the family members and everybody I mentioned in the song, and just had a, you know, man-to-man, human-to-human relation or conversation with them. And, you know, they were all okay with it, and we put out the song, and it still hurt other people that was in my family just to even hear it, but I got it off my chest. Me and my family are good. My relationships are back together. You know, it's, you know, at the end of the day, again, sometimes you got to hit rock bottom in order to get back up on your feet, and that was me getting back up on my feet. So just letting everything out, and then also, that was a song that I got 10 of those 30 messages from. Like, man, I'm going through the same thing. This changed my life. No one's ever said this in a song because it hit so close to home for me, you know? So it's just like going forward from now on, like, I'll say anything as long as it doesn't kill anybody, you know? Like, because that's the opposite of what I want my songs to do. I literally want them to heal people. I want people to realize, like, they're not alone. So that's my spill.
What would you tell to your future self?
To my future self, I hope you're good. I hope you're kicking. I hope you're still doing the music thing. Because right now, as you know, it's going pretty good for you. Hope you have a lot more opportunities. Hope Kanye listens to your album. Hope y'all do a Christian collab album called Jesus is Jesus. And but really, like, I hope you're providing for your family. You know, just keep going. Keep striving.
Alright. That's all I got.
Alright, man.
Yeah.
It's a good one. It's a great interview. Love it.